Hey, it's been a week. Not a things went badly kind of week, more of a where do I even start kind of week. We had record heat, a renamed holiday, 23,000 nurses walking off the job over artificial intelligence, and if you missed any of it, well, good news. That's literally what this video is for. So let's do this and let's get into it. First up, it was hot this week, like very hot. Historically, records going back to like 1800s hot in March. Southern California broke more than 10 temperature records just on this past Thursday alone. LAX hit 82 degrees, breaking a record from 1988. UCLA hit 87, and Palm Springs approached what would have been the hottest March day ever recorded in the United States. And the National Weather Service called it historic heat, the kind we haven't seen in March in like decades. Inland areas hit triple digits, and extreme heat warnings ran all week. Now here's the fun part. Spring officially began as of this past Friday, March 20th, which means California didn't technically have a heat wave. We just had a very enthusiastic last week of winter. And there's a reason people in Texas keep asking why you're still living here, and I genuinely cannot explain it anymore, but here we are. The good news, temperatures are supposed to drop this weekend, so if you're watching this on Sunday, congratulations on surviving. All right, let's get into the next one. Story 2. You may have heard that California was doing some housekeeping this week on a holiday name. Following sexual assault allegations against Cesar Chavez, yes, the Cesar Chavez, both the Los Angeles City Council and California State Legislature moved this week to rename Cesar Chavez Day. LA Mayor Karen Bass signed a proclamation Thursday renaming the city's holiday Farm Workers Day. The state legislature says it will pass a bill doing the same before the end of the month. And Governor Newsom said he's open to it, but he hasn't committed. The UFW, the union Chavez co-founded, said it would not be organizing events on the holiday this year and encouraged people to instead support farm workers through other means. Okay. So there are a dozen streets, schools, parks, and public buildings across California named after this man. And the state is now moving, correctly apparently, to change a holiday named after him. And I want to be clear, if the allegations are credible, renaming things is the right move. And nobody's disputing that. What I will gently point out is that California has spent decades naming infrastructure after this particular person. There was a lot of confidence involved there. And now the legislature is moving with remarkable speed to fix it, which is not how our legislature usually works. So that's pretty interesting. All right, moving on. Story 3. And this one I want you to actually pay attention to because it matters. On Wednesday, approximately 2,400 mental health therapists at Kaiser Permanente walked off the job across Northern California, and about 23,000 Kaiser nurses joined them in a sympathy strike. And this was not about pay. What the dispute is about is artificial intelligence, because specifically Kaiser has been replacing licensed clinical social workers, people with PhDs and master's degrees who used to handle mental health phone triage, with workers required to have only a high school diploma. And the union says Kaiser wants flexibility to use AI in triage and patient intake and refuses to include contract language saying AI won't replace therapist functions. Kaiser's response? AI will support our clinicians, not replace them. And here's what I'll say about that. Kaiser settled with the California Department of Managed Healthcare for $200 million in 2023 over mental health access violations. They've had ongoing lawsuits and strikes about this exact issue, patient access to mental health care, for years. And their position in this negotiation is that they want the flexibility to deploy AI in patient triage, but they just can't seem to put in writing that it won't replace therapists. They might be right that AI won't replace anyone. They're just not willing to say so in the actual contract. And you can decide what that means. What it means is 4.6 million patients in the Bay Area, Sacramento, and the Central Valley is that the people answering the phone when you call Kaiser's mental health line may not be who you think they are. And that's worth knowing. All right, that was your week in California. You had record heat to officially close out a winter, a holiday getting a new name very quickly, and 23,000 healthcare workers on a picket line over AI. Just another normal week here in California. And if you found any of this useful, or if you just needed someone to say out loud that, yes, it is a lot out here, and you are not imagining it, hit subscribe and drop something in the comments. I'll be back next Sunday with whatever California manages to produce in week 2 of spring. And we'll see you on the next one. Later.